So I'm Ranch Kimball, I live in Brooklyn, and I like facts. And I think what we'd have to say tonight is, by my count, we've heard so far 17 people get up and give numerous firsthand data. I was doing a crude tally on a grid, and there are at least several thousand observed instances that these people or the people they've talked with have seen. Those are facts. Second thing I'll say is facts aren't like paint. You don't blend them together to come up with an average. Some people at some businesses, some officers on certain stations may not see everything that 400, 500, 600 residents see who are there 7 days a week. So third, let's talk about how we got here, because if that's the what, we now have a huge fact base. In early 2017, Senator Jason Lewis went to Colorado to understand retail marijuana. And he looked at how their stores were operated. I've also been to Colorado for a week, been to a lot of the stores he has and many more. Since I did over 420 siting projects for this Commonwealth for both Governors Romney and Patrick, I looked at it as a siting issue. Now, the average marijuana store in Colorado, the average store, the one that would have informed the state policy, that informed our narrative, is $1.5 million in revenue. I've been in a lot of stores in Colorado that have that size, showing the relative size of NETA's annual volumes, which based on their first 4 months actuals as submitted to the Department of Revenue of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, add up to be 75.2 million, whereas the average shop in Colorado is 1.5 million, 1/50th the size. I think, Mr. Chairman, select board members, I'm talking now as people who've all worked in government. My concern is not with how Amanda runs NETA, which is actually pretty efficient. It's not with some of the data that Jen gives. My concern is simply this is a massively inappropriate citing.
Yes.
It is simply a 50 times bigger citing than I think people thought they were going to get. That's just not in proportion. In a little town of Brookline, in the Village, is what is apparently the largest marijuana store in America. Not in Los Angeles. In
Las Vegas.
In Las Vegas. In Washington State and Colorado, the very large stores are at the base of freeway off-ramps with 60, 70, 80 parking spaces in shopping malls. It is simply, in its current operational structure, cited in the wrong place. So at root, I think I'm going to take a bit of a gamble. And I really think almost everyone that spoke tonight, and I'm really speaking to the 5 of you on the select board, and then I'll end, they're not opposed to having a pot shop in their neighborhood.
Right. No, we are not opposed.
What they're really concerned about is they don't have a pot shop in their neighborhood. They don't have a Colorado-sized $1.5 million a year shop. They have what is probably the largest marijuana shop in America. It is a siting and size problem. And it would be irresponsible for government to look at something that was that far out of the bounds of what was originally intended and not provide a remedy.
My name is Linda Plazonja. My husband Jonathan and I have lived in Brookline for 33 years, spending the last 26 years at 167 Walnut Street where we raised our family. I am the moderator, along with Faith Michaels, of the Facebook page Brookline Townwide Discussion Group, where NETA is frequently the topic, and I work for the mayor of the city of Newton, where I am the citizen assistance officer for the city, fielding complaints from residents. As a resident, here's what NETA has brought to my otherwise quiet neighborhood. Unpleasant interactions with customers and employees as they circle my street, turn haphazardly in driveways, block driveways, and take up valuable parking. It is not unusual to see customers hanging out in their cars, windows down, playing loud music as they idle curbside to get high. I've seen the contents of the ubiquitous white bags change hands as they are resold on the street. My porch and bedroom window are mere feet from the street. I can see and hear everything. I understand members of the select board doubt the reports of the impact of NETA on the neighborhoods. I invite you to come and sit on my porch and see the mayhem for yourselves. As the admin of the discussion group, I read and review numerous posts about similar activities made by my neighbors from White Place, Emerson Park, The Point, High Street, and Brookline Village. The problems caused by the mismanagement of the introduction of NETA's retail sales operations to these historic neighborhoods is widespread and undeniable. Most importantly, as the Citizen Assistance Officer in Newton, I hear from residents every day, 8 hours a day, about every little thing. People joke that I work in a cave with citizens against virtually everything. And it's true. I hear about potholes, about parking tickets, about leaf blowers. But you know what I have not heard one thing about? Not one call, one email, one letter? The opening of the Cypress Tree retail marijuana store in Newton. How is that experience? How is it that the experience in Newton is so different? In my letter dated August 21st, I asked for a meeting to share Newton's process. I got crickets. Change is good, and legal marijuana sales are here to stay. But the introduction of retail marijuana, like any change, must be managed in the most responsible way possible. At this late date in the change management cycle, it's fair to say that Brookline is coming up short. It's time to revisit the host community agreement. What's on the books is not working. We can look to our neighbors in Newton for simple, proven best practices. Mandatory appointments, shorter business hours, more conducive to the residential neighborhoods, and increased police enforcement. Finally, during these initial months and years of responsibly introducing legalized marijuana to Brookline, let's assign a portion of the community impact fees to fund a formal liaison between the neighbors, the town, and the businesses. We're your constituents, and it's time to bring our voice to the discussion.
Good evening, Lauren Bernard, Precinct 8. I do not live in the area. But dovetailing on, sorry, I'm not hearing the woman who just spoke, I'd like to offer some my own data. I was hearing a number of complaints. It sounded really outlandish about NETA in the neighborhood surrounding NETA. And having been a proponent myself of recreational marijuana and a staunch proponent of the potential for very substantial revenue for our town, I was very skeptical, and I decided to go investigate on my own, and what happened really shocked me. This was my experience, my personal experience, my own data, on Saturday night about 3 weeks ago. I was groped by a man carrying a NETA bag who walked very close to me and then ran away when I shouted. I was solicited to buy pot 3 times. I was spit on when I refused. I observed 2 adults reselling to minors. They looked to be in high school. I saw 1 instance of public urination. I observed at least 12 people smoking pot on the streets and in nearby parks, particularly Emerson Gardens. Where I dined that evening, the owner said to me that she has to kick out inebriated folks, and families do not want to eat in her restaurant as much as they used to, and she's lost revenue. At the time I was groped, I approached 2 police officers to complain that they were very busy with traffic control and indicated they could not speak to me. Bottom line, for the first time ever, I felt truly unsafe in Brookline. Please, please revisit the host community agreement. Seriously consider reduced hours, appointment only, and responsible regulation, because we shouldn't be afraid to walk around. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Ana Otero. I'm a 16-year Brookline resident, and I live on White Place behind NETA. I voted for legalization of marijuana. I want to make sure that everyone knows that. My husband and I came to Brookline because we fall in love with a diverse and caring community and the small businesses of Brookline Village. Brookline was special. It breaks my heart to see what's happening with the presence of NETA selling recreational marijuana in my neighborhood. I have personally witnessed a significant increase in loitering, littering, and panhandling. In addition, I have seen things that I never saw in my 16 years before. Public urination, public consumption of marijuana, and sales of marijuana on the street. We call the police weekly to report illegal activities. As a matter of fact, I called yesterday evening, and as I was coming to this meeting today, there were 2 men with a joint sharing it in front of my door, and I actually smelled the marijuana. I didn't have time to call the police because they left. Brookline has an opportunity to be a model for the country. I believe by implementing the right policies, you will be able to create a marijuana industry that will integrate with Brookline's character and preserve the nature of our neighborhood. Please do so.
Thank you so much. Hello everyone, my name is Ramon Mateo. I live at 59 Boylston Street with my girlfriend. We are, I think fair to say, kind of right at the epicenter of the traffic situation, parking situation. And that's mostly what I'm going to focus on here today. I had originally prepared a statement, but I think most of my neighbors here kind of covered most of the things that I was going to say anyways. I really need to focus on how bad the parking situation has been on our particular strip, going down Route 9 westbound from NETA all the way down to the hotel situation. As my wonderful neighbor was just saying about Walnut Street, we have a very similar situation. People constantly parking in driveways, in my driveway, and it's a 2-lane driveway, and they will park blocking it so that you can't get around either side. So they're very disrespectful about it. They'll block the actual driveway. They park illegally in ways that are just dangerous and absolutely irresponsible. You know, taking an entire lane on Route 9, no hazards, no nothing. And here's the thing that has made it very, very difficult for me is I've never once had one of these people actually show me any respect when I remind them that they can't be doing what they're doing. There are plenty of times that I get home from my workday and I just want to pull in my driveway and go home. And I can't because there's somebody in my driveway or blocking my driveway. And so I literally have to put my hazards on. And now I'm one of the people that are blocking Route 9. And I have to get out of my car while my car is in Route 9 and I go up to their window and I say, hey, listen, you got to move so that I can get in my driveway. And the overwhelming attitude from people has either ranged from get over it to people literally getting out of their car, threatening to fight me, threatening to come back. But we had a man literally threaten to come back and get my girlfriend later. This was at 9:30, 9:45 at night. And I'm also gonna make a point to say that most of the terrible encounters that we've had with people have been in the later hours of the evening when they know that there is no cop on duty down the street, when they know that there is nobody around to really see or say or do anything in the time that they can do it and then get away.
I'm Mateo Presotero. I live on 12 White Place. I'm an 8th grader at the Pierce School. I don't feel safe walking home alone in the evenings in Brookline Village. Before NETA, I'd walk alone and I'd feel safe. I don't feel safe because I see people smoking on a daily basis, and I've seen people urinating on the street. In the 8th grade, in my 8th grade social studies class, we're doing a project on community issues. In my class, we thought affordable housing, overcrowding of schools, and NETA are the most important issues that the town has to address. We voted on those 3, and the impact of NETA is the one that we chose. We created a survey to ask Brookline High School students how NETA has impacted their lives. We aren't through collecting responses, but so far 25% of high schoolers see people using marijuana daily, and only 10% have never seen it happen. 80% of respondents say that the people that they saw using marijuana were 15 through 17 years old. This shows that people of all ages are concerned about the impact of NETA. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Faith Michaels, Town Meeting Member Precinct 5. I decided to take a walk through the village to speak with business owners. We've spoken to 39 business owners to learn how NETA has positively or negatively affected their bottom line and to gather first-hand impressions. Let me first, as a summary, out of the 39 businesses, 32 said NETA had been a problem for the business and their neighborhood, and they cited specifics which I will get to in a moment, including many who have seen their business decline. 5 say that NETA's arrival has brought new business to them. Great. And it's helped and 2 say that it helped their businesses a bit, but that they've had problems with NETA customers. So 82% have complaints and business problems, 13% say NETA has helped, and 5 are mixed. That's a 6.5 to 1 ratio of those hurt by NETA versus those helped. Second, what was noticeable to me was the type of business that was having problems. All 11 of the retailers had problems, not 1 was helped. All 11 of the service providers had problems, not 1 was helped. 6 of the 7 sit-down restaurants had problems. The one that did not specifically cite that were that NETA employees ate there. The other 4 businesses that cited NETA as having helped them were a liquor store, 3 fast food, casual food, coffee places. The mix is extremely worrying. A healthy business district has a mix of businesses, not just a liquor store and a coffee shop. Retailers, service businesses, and sit-down restaurants employ more people and are a destination business that draws in customers and often has higher margins and can pay higher rents for the prime properties. If this trend continues, we might see a hollowing out of the Brookline Village business community, with only one narrow type of business being able to thrive.
We want to hear.
The third thing I want to raise is the very pronounced level of nuisance they each observed. 11 observed frequent public smoking of marijuana collectively. Collectively, they have observed several hundred, if not more, of these instances. 12 of them cited daily parking and vehicle congestion problems. 4 of them, given their proximity to NETA, noted frequent usage of their bathrooms by NETA customers, putting a strain on old systems. Many cited trash and frequent public urination. Finally, 12 of them cited a decline in business and client volume. 2 of them were open enough with me to say that the very survival of their business was at risk. These hard, solid, quantitative numbers should all give us deep concern.
Hi, my name is Sloan Furness. I live at 10 White Place with my husband and 2 girls, ages 6 and 9. A few weeks ago, I spoke to many of you about concerns I have related to illegal activity associated with recreational marijuana on White Place and in Brookline Village. To summarize, since NETA's opening in March, I have witnessed multiple incidents of trespassing on my property, public urination, illegal parking that blocks driveways, and aggression from Uber drivers and customers of NETA. I regularly witness public consumption of marijuana. One of the most offensive of these illegal incidents was when my 9-year-old daughter watched a man pee against Liz Linder's building from our living room in the middle of the afternoon. And I know the police just said that this was not a NETA customer. I watched him, I had my daughter identify him, and I saw him go back to stand in front of NETA. I've watched the demise of my street and my neighborhood as these illegal acts caused by the huge volumes of customers traveling to NETA every day have gone largely unpunished. Tonight, I would like to focus on my personal experience as a direct abutter to NETA. As much as I do not want to witness people peeing in my driveway or publicly smoking pot, I cannot avoid it. I'd also like to say I did vote yes on recreational marijuana. I see it from my kitchen while I'm doing dishes, from my living room armchair while I'm watching TV, from my front porch, from my back porch off my kitchen, and from my bedrooms. Yesterday, while I was working on my computer in my living room, I saw a man with a NETA bag empty its contents into an apple and then smoke from the apple. That was a first, it's usually a joint. I now have a protocol. When I see a suspicious act, I go to get my phone, I go outside to see if I can smell pot. 9 times out of 10, I do. I take a picture and I call the police. Not once have I called the police to report someone smoking pot without actually smelling it first. I'm tired of policing my house. My family went out of town 2 times this month so we could avoid another Saturday experiencing NETA customers. I'm also tired of listening to the huge crowd outside my bedroom that fills the NETA parking lot on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and more recently Sunday nights. Since this is focusing on time, that happens till 10. There's often after that a lot of operational things that go on till 11. I have a 1st and a 4th grader who need to go to sleep. For the last 7 months, I've lived with illegal activity, huge NETA crowds, and nuisance from these crowds. It's time for much warranted and fair change. Thank you.
Thank you, Graham. I'm Dan Saltzman. I'm a town meeting member, Precinct 6. I live at 62 White Place. I live at the far end of White Place, not so close to NETA. Like my neighbors, my family has seen countless impacts from NETA, countless impacts since their operation opened to adult use, only since it's open to adult use. We've seen many public instances of public urination. I'm not going to get into it. Everybody's talked about it. We've seen it. Right in front of our house with our kids standing there. We see people regularly blocking our street, parking illegally, all the stuff that you've heard about tonight and that you're going to hear about from other people. We see it all the time. But what's been most pervasive, most intrusive, most troubling has been public consumption. And I just want to talk about one instance that just happened on Sunday night. I walked out of my house with my 11-year-old son to take a walk. Immediately smelled weed. He smelled it. He now knows what it smells like as much as anybody. I looked around. I see a guy smoking. I called the police, told them what was happening. That was it. We moved on our way. And then the rest of the walk, it's my son asking, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to that guy? Are the police going to come? They're going to arrest him, etc. That was the walk. We come back. About 10 minutes later, The police actually showed up just as we walked into near our house, and I told them the person's gone. That's what happens. The reason that the numbers are so low is because I want to talk a little bit about that. Chairman Green, you said last week, after it was suggested by other members of the board that maybe changes could be made to the operation at NETA. Chairman Green, you said, based on some reason for doing that, we could do it. Based on data, you said. Now, I think we're hearing data tonight. I think we're hearing data. Based on data, and I'm quoting here, I think we can justify this by statements out here. I don't think we can justify this by statements out here in the community, that this is a disaster area, that this is a huge crisis. It was then suggested by other board members that maybe this board would hear such data tonight. Chairman Green then said, and again I'm quoting directly, we're also hearing from the police that, that some of the terrible events that are supposedly occurring here are not occurring.
We're liars?
So here's the question. By making a statement like that, the only logical, reasonable conclusion can be that we are lying. We are not lying. We are not lying.
No,
We are
the
no-
logical conclusion is that this board was not there. So we have to look at what you say, what police say.
You don't believe us.
You
No.
better believe the people.
I don't understand. You're hearing it tonight. You're hearing it tonight. Is this data? I think it's data.
Good.
The big thing here is that we are not lying. The people in this room are not lying. And most importantly, that doesn't mean that we're saying that the police are lying or that anybody else is lying. We have different perspectives of what's happening here. The police are doing their job. They drive their car down my street, they're not gonna smell weed. They're on the street for 10 seconds. They're doing their job, I get it. They're not lying, but neither are we. We live on this street, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I've lived there for 14 years, I've never seen this stuff before. Now, after 7 months, it's regular occurrences. Regular occurrences of this. It's just different perspectives. We're not lying, they're not lying. He's not lying. It's just different perspectives. And what we're saying is happening. I'm going to ask everybody involved in this situation. Chairman Green, the rest of the board, NETA, everybody in this room. Do not pit one resident against another resident. Do not pit the neighbors, the residents of this town. Do not pit them against their police force. Do not pit them against their police force. That's what's happening. We are not adversaries. We are a community. All I want, all my family wants, all these folks in this room want, we just want our neighborhood back.
Thank you.